Perks and one-time bonuses are increasingly replacing pay raises for many employees, according to a new report. HR firm Aon Hewitt surveyed how salaried employees are compensated in the U.S. In 1994, 4% of payroll budgets was devoted to giving raises. Last year, that percentage shrank to just 2.9%. At the same time, spending on variable pay, like short-term perks and bonuses, has risen from 6.4% of payroll budgets in 1994 to 12.7% in 2014. Those perks and bonuses could be incentive programs like profit sharing or productivity awards, or they could be one-off payments like signing bonuses. 91% of all companies surveyed by Aon Hewitt had some kind of variable compensation program. This morning, the team decided this trend doesn't bode well for the newest generation of workers.
Studies have shown lately that millennials are more interested in things like perks and working conditions than they are salaries. So maybe this is a move to please the new generation too.
It's pleasing them, but it's also a sleight of hand, because what companies are doing is they're not paying you more, but they're giving the illusion that you're getting as much. So you get the one-time hit where you see your bank account one time go up quite drastically in 1 month, but you might get more money if it was spread out over several months.
The problem with getting a one-time perk now, a bonus, whatever it is that your salary increases, particularly in your 20s, will compound through your entire career. And that what you're earning at job X is what you can leverage job Y at if you left that company to go to somewhere else.
Is this just another sign of things being worse for millennials? And I fear that it probably is that.
Stephanie R. Thomas is a research associate for the Institute of Compensation Studies at Cornell University. So you heard those numbers there, that the percentage of payroll that's going to variable compensation has doubled. What is behind that trend, do you think?
Well, I think there's several different factors that are influencing that trend. First of all, it's been a rough economic climate the last few years. Everybody's having to do more with less. And substituting or converting the compensation system to more variable pay, more incentive-based things gives the organization some more flexibility in terms of their compensation spending. Paying somebody based on their performance, the performance of the organization as a whole, really helps align the organization's financial ability to pay with those wage bills and the compensation bills that they have to pay. So it's taking the compensation from sort of a fixed perspective of salary into a variable perspective where it's tied to the performance of the individual, of the department, of the business line, of the organization, and so the organization pays when it's most able to.
Have you seen any research that would indicate whether this is an effective thing to do, whether it does improve employee morale or engagement or performance in any way?
I think that that it actually does have an impact on those things. There's been a variety of research by different organizations. The trick is you have to institute the pay for performance program in a way that's consistent with your organizational culture, that lines up with the preferences and the dynamics of your workforce. When it's done properly, pay for performance can be very, very effective. It can help attract and retain top talent. It can increase employee engagement, can drive motivation, can really make a difference in terms of the bottom line of the organization.
But you did talk about sort of a rough time in the economy. Does it really boil down to maybe this is a less expensive way to reward or encourage employees?
I don't know as though it's less expensive in general terms. What I think it does is it allows the organization to have a better alignment between their compensation commitments and the promises that they've made to their employees and their ability to pay. If it's been a good year, your employees have done well, they've met their targets, they've met their production quotas, the organization as a whole is going to be doing better. More revenues are going to be coming in, which means it's going to be easier financially for the organization to meet those obligations.
I'm curious.
On the other side,
sorry, go ahead.
On the other side, if we're having a rough economic time, the company hasn't done very well, people haven't been meeting their production bonuses, they're not going to have those performance elements paid out, and so the organization really has a little bit of flexibility there. They don't have to try to scramble if they don't have the financial resources.
Right, and that was sort of the topic that came up in our meeting, as you heard, is, that doesn't really help the employees, the citizens who are still trying to pay the same bills they always had to pay, and suddenly they maybe don't have the benefits they had previously. Not a good setup.
That's certainly a good point.
Yeah. So now I'm curious, when we talk about the growth in this trend, have you heard of any particularly creative examples? I mean, we typically talk about, sort of profit sharing and so forth. Have you heard of anything that's quite original in the way that people are using this variable compensation?
Well, I mean, it really is across the board in terms of what people are doing. We can look at short-term incentives, things like signing bonuses, retention bonuses, annual incentive plans. If you meet your performance targets at the end of the year, you receive a particular payout or a percentage of salary. We can look at it in terms of long-term issues, whether that's restricted stock options, the profit sharing and the gain sharing plans. It even extends into benefits and quality of life, work balance issues, flex time, different kinds of rewards for participating and meeting wellness objectives. It really is across the board in terms of how companies are using these kinds of things.
Do you see that this trend could reverse if, in fact, the employers are feeling more confident, the economy becomes back to really full strength, that salary would be, again, a way that people would be rewarded as opposed to these sort of perks?
It's possible, and I don't think that salary will ever be completely replaced as a way of paying people. I think what's happening with the increase in the use of pay for performance is employers are more cognizant now of the fact that their employees have different preferences. They need different aspects to motivate them and keep them engaged. And sometimes salary is not enough to do that. So if we structure our incentive programs correctly, it enhances the whole work experience. It can really motivate, really drive engagement, help to retain people, help to get the right people through the door into the right positions.
Okay, well, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.